Hello, hello, and welcome to Art Pop Talk. I am Bianca.
And I'm Gianna. Hey.
Gianna. Hey.
Hey. How you doing?
How you doing? I'm good, you know. It's rainy here, which is nice. And Gianna, I need to tell you that I went out yesterday and I felt it. Do you know what I felt?
Oh, did it rain on you?
Oh, interessant. No, I mean, it rained on me today. Actually, I just went for a walk and it was raining. I didn't even think about that. That was kind of nice.
Or did you feel some kind of hope for the future?
Well, no, I felt the cold. I felt the
Oh.
first hint of the depths of winter.
The depths of winter. I see. No, I didn't know where you were going with that. Very interesting. Well, as you know, my birthday is the first day of fall, which definitely marks the depths of winter.
It really does. And I've been talking to some people here because in Oklahoma, I mean, Gianna, we don't really get a fall. Like, it is technically fall, and there's like a week or whatever where it's like nice outside, but
It's like that with spring too. It's like we don't get any break. Like fall and spring are supposed to be these nice intersections of like weathers or seasons that are supposed to give us a break from like super coldness or super hotness, and yeah, we just don't really get it in Oklahoma.
yeah, so I'm kind of nervous for the fall, but like, I mean, maybe it'll be good because maybe it'll just be actually fall and it won't be like cold. But yesterday I walked outside, I was like, girl, like,
Well, girl, I don't know, you're on the East Coast now. I mean, we are used to like East Coast Christmas
yeah.
and like cold weather, but now you have to like live it. So
No,
good
I
luck with
know,
that.
I was scared. I just like went outside and was like, whoop.
Oh God. It's a little bit rainy here today too, but I've kind of been liking it.
So it just
Oh, also, do you know what I saw? Is that already like the pumpkin spice latte is back?
Yes, because it's been coming up on my TikTok. Personally, see, I actually had this discussion with some people yesterday. I love Starbucks like holiday drinks, like a peppermint mocha. I can
Totally.
like for sure get behind, but I'm not really like a PSL lady.
You know, I have to say that I do like it. I'm not like, oh my God, I need my pumpkin spice latte like right
You're
now
not
or
a
I'm gonna die.
PSLL,
No. But
pumpkin spice latte lady.
I support the ladies and, you know, the people of the world that need their pumpkin spice. But I just feel like it's too early. I just need Starbucks to chill, I think.
Agreed. What's your favorite holiday drink?
Well, I liked the like the gingerbread one that they had or like the ginger spice one. But, you know, this will be kind of like the first Christmas where I don't drink coffee anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know,
What
I've
about
been
like
more
some
of
like hot cocoa?
oh yeah, I mean totally. Oh my goodness. Well, so a lot has happened these past couple of weeks,
Yeah.
both just personally and in politics and in the news and in the media and in the art world. But I first wanted to start off today by offering our condolences to the family of Chadwick Boseman. Bianca and I know all too well what it is like to lose a loved one to cancer, and this was just very sad and shocking news as he kept his treatment private through his battle for, I believe, about 3 years.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's experience with that illness is just so personal and different, and I at the same time I can't imagine him filming what he did and doing what he did and being
Yeah.
such a creator during that type of treatment. I mean, it takes an immense amount of bravery and strength both from him and his family to do that. And I think also it takes a lot of strength not to talk about it with
Yeah.
you know, the type of figure that he was, and just to focus so much of his life on other people from our perspective. It, you know, just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So this week has been, yeah, a lot. Following up on our conversation from last week, I did try to watch the RNC. because I did tell all of the Art Pop Tarts that I think it's important, and I know that it's important to listen to one another. But I turned it on, and there were some days where I couldn't. I had to turn it off because it was just too upsetting. But I did watch the last night. I watched Ivanka introduce her father, and I watched him give his, I don't know what to call it. Was it a speech? Can we call it that?
Speech?
He said words. That was that. But Gianna and I thought you and I had a great conversation on the phone about it. I mean, like, I just wish we were there watching it together, because I feel like sometimes when I look at you, I can just read your mind, and I know that you're thinking this.
Yeah. Like, why are there so many flags up on that stage? Oh my God, there was like 5,000 flags, and I was being so distracted because anytime anyone was up there, I was like, why are there so many flags? There were flags overlapping flags.
They're like the visuals for me. I was like, oh God.
The visuals for me were very intense, and the spectacle of it all with just such an intense backdrop that just was kind of frightening. And then when I was telling Bianca on the phone the other day, like, listening to these people try to evoke so much emotion from these really not so great speeches.
Yeah, you're right, Gianna, because it was weird. Like, visually, I was very, like, affronted with too much, but listening to it, like, the auditory component was totally unimpressive.
Yes, no, it was like two different vibes for sure that just didn't mesh well. Ugh. So yeah, I had a pretty rough go at it watching.
Yeah, no, I know. So what else happened last week? Some art news?
Ooh, yes. So we have some art news for today. We haven't talked about it on the pod yet, but of course this August marked the 100-year anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, which granted white women the right to vote. But some interesting and artful and political discussion has taken place because of this anniversary, starting with Trump pardoning Susan B. Anthony, who is a historical figure known as a female activist and for her role in the women's suffrage movement starting in 1848. So the president and CEO of the Susan B. Anthony Museum and House, Deborah L. Hughes, wrote in response to Trump's pardon, "Objection, Mr. President. Susan B. Anthony must decline your offer of a pardon." Anthony wrote in her diary in 1873 that her trial for voting was the greatest outrage history ever witnessed. She was not allowed to speak as a witness in her own defense because she was a woman. At the conclusion of arguments, Judge Hunt dismissed the jury and pronounced her guilty. She was outraged to be denied a trial by jury. She proclaimed, "I shall never pay $1 of your unjust penalty. To pay would have been to validate the proceedings. To pardon Susan B. Anthony does the same." So the museum is saying that basically the pardon suggests and also puts emphasis on the idea that a crime or wrongdoing was committed, even if for the greater good. Whereas Anthony, if she was still alive, would argue that she wasn't even given the right to a jury or a fair trial to begin with. Therefore, there's nothing to pardon because in this situation, she didn't do anything wrong to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, what a weird move. If you're going to use your power to pardon, and he already made a spectacle of it at the RNC anyway, I mean, can you do something productive here? You know, like, what is this?
I know. I'm like, you're going to waste your time, like, when you have people in your country right now who are not able to vote.
Right.
As we'll discuss, also, you know, Susan B. Anthony was also not a perfect person. So why not talk about how our nation's history is not pretty and talk about how we can actually use our history to solve what is happening currently.
How the first wave feminist movement excluded a ton of women. You know, I mean,
Don't get me started. But actually, get me started, because we're going to talk about another piece of art news. Also in Central Park, a new statue was unveiled earlier this week of women's rights champions Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Sojourner Truth, which also marks the first statue of real-life women ever erected in the park as well. Because they have statues of fictional women, like, I think like the Alice in Wonderland, but they don't have any real women in there being represented. It is extraordinarily important that Sojourner Truth, a women's rights activist and Black abolitionist activist, is included in the statue because, as we know, the women's suffrage movement, worked to exclude women of color from participating in the movement, where Black suffragists were literally pushed to the back of protest and excluded them by not advocating for their rights in general. And yet, here is Sojourner working alongside two white leaders at the forefront of the movement who made it clear that when they said women, they were only talking about white women, and who oppressed the ratification of the 15th Amendment, which granted Black men the right to vote as well. So the artist behind this monumental sculpture is Meredith Bergman, whose work addresses social justice and historical redress through public art. She's done other monuments around the world, also with female figures. In this piece, these three historic female figures sit and stand together in the same frame or space, but Truth is key in pointing out the intersections between the abolitionist movement and the major problems in the suffrage movement and the struggles and realities between them. I found a good comment on the monument by a feminist art historian, Susan Ware, who says, Black women who were a part of the women's suffrage movement didn't benefit from the 19th Amendment. Ware says, in the South, where many Black Americans reside, the same Jim Crow restrictions that kept Black men away from the polls also prevented Black women from voting. It's very important as we mark this milestone in women's history to remember that it is an incomplete one, that it really has an asterisk with it, and that for African American women, it was the Voting Rights Act of 1965, not the 19th Amendment, that finally guaranteed their right to vote.
I was listening to the Hysteria podcast, and they just made some really fantastic points on discussing this anniversary. While we should talk about history, we should always talk about history because it is important, and I like talking about it. It feels hard to celebrate it in this moment because there's so much work that still needs to be done that guarantees people's right to vote, not just women around this country. And I think it was the political director of Crooked Media on the podcast was talking about how voter suppression is and should be thought of as a feminist issue, with women having to stay home on voting day because they provide childcare, or women not being able to stand in line for 8 hours with their child, or they're taking care of someone else and they can't leave to go vote. So if you can ever volunteer or offer to help with people, register voters, encourage mail-in voting, babysitting so women and caretakers can get out and vote, definitely make that happen for someone else. But yeah, I thought the discussion was so eloquent and really just stating voter suppression overall is still a feminist issue. We're not done,
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess with this statue too, I appreciate this artist, Meredith Bergman. These figures are problematic, and we've talked about, what are we doing with these problematic public works of art, but it's also a truthful depiction
of it. It's not glamorizing.
Right, exactly.
That's really fascinating to think about how we are trying to think about monuments differently and not glorify certain monuments and figures, and then putting up this statue that does the opposite in a way. But
right, just trying to expose the reality of what happened. But
right,
But it's also like, yeah, whether we like it or not, well, we don't like it, but these women were a part of this. And did they do good things? Yes. But did they also do really screwed up things? Yes.
Yeah, right.
You know, I still think I don't know if my feelings are entirely made up about it, but yeah.
But hey, that's what Art Pop Talk is for, right?
That is what Art Pop Talk is all about.
Speaking of Art Pop Talk, are we going to talk about something else today?
Oh, yes, we are.
Ooh.
So today's Art Pop Talk is on this weekend's VMAs. Yay! Today we are diving into the performances of the weekend, some VMA history, and some most iconic VMA performances and moments. Yay.
Yes.
Love a good award show.
Gianna, what's your favorite season?
Awards.
Thank you, Moira Rose.
Myra Rose.
If you like fruit wine as much as I do. Okay, Gianna, I was also going to ask, on top of knowing what your favorite season is. I mean, we didn't grow up with cable. We've talked about this a little bit before, but do you feel like you consistently watch the VMAs all the way through, or are you more just kind of a recap highlight person?
Yeah, you know, I was going to talk about that or mention that later. I mean, honestly, the VMAs is not really something that I feel like I've ever really paid attention to. But, like, in thinking, oh my God, like, that happened at the VMAs, like, that was at the VMAs. We've had these, like, pretty major pop culture moments that have happened at all places of VMAs. And I think when thinking about it, it makes sense because that drama isn't going to take place at the Grammys. You know what I mean? But but it's happening at the VMAs, and
because
the
it's
VMAs,
like, not important,
like,
in a way.
It's like they play into it. Like, I think that they like using their platform for these moments, because even one of the kind of commercial voices was like, oh, and next up is what's good, Miley. You know what I mean? They're saying these things. So I think that they kind of live for the drama, which I live for the drama. So maybe I should be paying more attention, which is why we're doing this episode.
I know. When I was researching kind of the history of the VMAs, I was looking at a timeline and I was like, oh my God, all of this stuff happened at the VMAs? Like, it's crazy. So I would agree. Normally I've been kind of like a recap highlights person, but why have I not been always watching the VMAs? Actually, we'll discuss it here. So the MTV Video Music Awards are an award show presented by the cable channel MTV to honor the best in the music video medium. I also really like thinking about music videos as a medium, which I thought was interesting. Originally conceived as an alternative to the Grammy Awards in the video category, which is fascinating, like how the Grammys has one category or so for something that's so visual, and then here the VMAs are doing that for an entire award show. Yeah. So the Washington Post and Huffington Post stated that the stature of the ceremony has declined in recent years. HuffPost cited reasons such as lack of interest, declining attendances, and viewership in the 2019 ratings hit an all-time low for the third straight year in a row. The lack of musical diversity, lack of celebrity, lack of credibility, and access to music online. Then the Washington Post states, the moment the VMAs ceased to matter might have happened in 2014 when Drake didn't bother appearing to receive his award. Now, this is super interesting. Do you feel like in this year's show, they were able to make it relevant because of the separation? For me, it wasn't weird that people weren't there to accept their award in person, obviously.
Yeah, I think they were, and I was going to mention it later, but I also think that maybe a lot of people tuned in because the first award show that I believe was supposed to happen under this, pandemic quarantine time was supposed to be the Tonys, but then they got canceled completely. And so, if I'm not mistaken, like, this is kind of the first award show that was, like, successfully able to happen during this time.
Right. So the VMAs first took place in 1984, at which Madonna performed her hit Like a Virgin, wearing her combination bustier wedding gown, including her trademark boy toy belt. Since then, the VMAs have really become known for these kind of iconic moments: celebrity drama, performances, glamour, fashion, like red carpet looks. So, Gianna, I was going to ask, what are your kind of favorite moments from recent VMA history that you recognize and remember, even though we may not have watched them on TV?
Yeah, well, that's when I was like, oh my God, like all this happened here. So,
Right?
picking out some VMA historic moments that I couldn't help but share with you all today. First, in 2011, when Beyonce announced she was pregnant by flashing her baby bump after her performance, iconic, that happened at the freaking VMAs. Like, what?
Right? What?
Oh my God. And then also in 2010, of course, when Lady Gaga wore the infamous meat dress. And in 2009, when Kanye sparked the ongoing feud between him and Taylor Swift by taking the stage in the middle of her acceptance speech for the Best Female Video of the Year to advocate for Beyonce's Single Ladies music video.
So wild.
So we just also have a lot of shade thrown over recent years. Honestly, we have like the Miley and Nicki drama where we get Miley what's good. We have some Katie and Taylor drama. And then we also have like Fifth Harmony throwing some serious shade at Camila Cabello.
Honestly, Kanye going up on stage is like not cool, but Fifth Harmony throwing a mannequin of Camila Cabello off a stage, that's very violent and not okay.
It's really not. It's straight up a bullying. And I'm like, what?
I know. It's so strange. And it's just it makes me like very uncomfortable to think that all of this is happening at the MTV Awards.
I know. So just really interesting place, honestly. I am so happy to be talking about the VMAs today because I have been dying to talk about the meat dress since day one of APT. As we know, Gaga is known for her outlandish outfits on the red carpet, but the meat dress stirred up some controversy when it made its debut in 2009 at the VMAs.
Can I just interrupt? I'm sorry, Lady Gaga was controversial.
Like what?
What?
Shocking.
Shocking.
But there is a lot more to this meat dress than people might know, as this concept was originally created by a visual and performance artist, Jana Sturbach, in 1987. Her meat dress is called Vanitas, flesh dress for an albino anorectic, where she forges conceptual and architectural elements that let the wearer experience bodily and out-of-body freedom. Sturbach, being interested in the ideas of human vulnerability, self-awareness, and the relationship between vanity and decomposition, uses these concepts in the flesh dress, as it was designed to be worn for the performative aspect and then rest on a mannequin as it decays over time. Vanitas in the title also reflects on the symbols used within traditional paintings as a reminder of death or the inevitable. So Gaga spoke about her dress, designed by France Fernandez, and said, well, it is certainly no disrespect to anyone that is vegan or vegetarian. As you know, I am the most judgment-free human being on earth. However, it has many interpretations, but for me this evening, if we don't stand up for what we believe in and if we don't fight for our rights, pretty soon we're going to have as much rights as the meat on our bones, and I am not a piece of meat. So interesting meat dress. I just think like part of like the controversy of it is that oh my God, here comes like Gaga with another designer outfit, and oh my God, it's made of meat. But I think again, using our historical perspective that we have, she's not the first person to do this, and you know, I would be very surprised if this designer didn't know about this meat dress. You know, so
well, and it's really fascinating to think about artists who have used meat and flesh and kind of living things and bodies to make art.
Right. It's really not
it's
new
not
concept.
right, exactly. So I think from my perspective, I mean, or from our perspective, this dress is of course iconic, but you know, it's not really my favorite thing from her or from the I mean, of course it's iconic because like it's her, but I'm not it for me, it just doesn't create that feeling of like, oh my god, you know, like I don't know how to describe it. I mean, I think it just adds to specifically Gaga's fashion statement and the idea of her being so tapped into the art world and the visual.
Right.
But it's like perplexing to me why this is so famous, because I'm not surprised by using flesh and meat as something that's very like art and visual based.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which is why, like, I think I've just been so longing to bring it up to just kind of destigmatize the meat dress, because it
Right.
really, I mean, I understand why people could be upset by it, but
Sure.
I also think,
I mean, it's visually very affronting, and especially with people not being used to people wearing meat. Like,
sure, absolutely. But it's, again, it's to open up this broader conversation that this use of animals or meat and processed meat is not a new thing in the performative or the visual art world.
yeah.
So for me, like you just said, it wasn't as jarring when I saw it.
Right. And I mean, if you think about like food production or agriculture, or if you go to the butcher shop, I am not personally caught off guard by that type of visual statement. I mean, there are a lot of different things happening there, but it doesn't make me uncomfortable.
There are, but, you know, again, out of all places, this very controversial dress was worn at the freaking VMAs. And
Right.
I guess this dress is also preserved as well as the original.
I think it's like a museum. I need to double check where it is, but it was in like a traveling exhibition of all of like Lady Gaga's like iconic outfits.
I think
the
it
bubble
was in
dress
Vegas. Wasn't it in Vegas when you could go see Enigma?
Her Enigma. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what it is. Oh, dude, we got to get to Vegas.
Yeah, dude. Not right now, though.
No, not right now. So I was kind of thinking about some of the looks that maybe I will never forget. Not that I'll never forget the meat dress, but 2013, we had Miley performed We Can't Stop on stage and then Dance with Robin Thicke, which caused this wild like breakdown of popular culture. I will never forget. I mean, in 2013, I was in high school, the conversations people were having about adults, like, I mean, that adults were having about Miley Cyrus as an artist and her breakaway from Hannah and Disney, that happened at the VMAs.
You know, I feel like adults are always having weird conversations about Miley, and everyone's just like so up in arms about her performances all the time. Well, I think it's time to get into the performances, the awards, and the highlights from this weekend's musical event. To kick things off, one, it was wonderful to be able to see a large-scale performance happen again, done in a very safe way. But we knew going into this award show that it would look different from past years because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Something I wasn't really thinking about until looking up the award categories is that the VMAs added 2 new categories that address the music industry in the COVID-19 pandemic, titled Best Music Video from Home and then Best Quarantine Performance. So this makes complete sense, as we have all noticed how much music has changed or evolved during the pandemic. There have been new songs addressing this new climate. There are quarantine playlists on Spotify. Performances have changed or evolved, and of course tours and album, release dates have been postponed. This has been our normal for so long now that I guess I just wasn't thinking about it too much the other day until I was prepping myself for the show.
Right.
And also because, like I said before, the Tonys were canceled this year, and the VMAs is our first big award show since we went under quarantine, so it's kind of our first taste of what things are going to look like for a while.
Yeah.
So Video from Home ended up going to Stuck With You, the Justin Bieber and Ariana song, and then Best Quarantine Performance went to CNCO's Unplugged at Home. So another category that I believe was newly added or took a different shape due to recent events and the continuous struggle we're in for equality and justice was the Video for Good award, which went to her for the I Can't Breathe song and video. The video is almost more of a documentary showing the Black Lives Matter protests from around the country, and ultimately created in an effort to ultimately seek justice for these Black lives that have been taken away by the hands of the police. So the goal of the award is to promote justice and love through the power of someone's voice. And then it was at this time where they used it as an opportunity to tell us to use our voices and make sure to vote, which is fantastic. So if you're listening, of course, make sure that you are registered to vote and that you're ready come November. But there were like some older songs that were also up for that category. The or that fell older, I guess.
Right. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm confused about the dates that qualify for VMA, because you're right, because maybe because like Chromatica dropped in May.
Oh god.
I mean, it was supposed to drop in April, but then there were songs like The Man from Taylor Swift that won.
Yes.
And I was like, what is this timeline?
No, I know. Lover was up for some other ones too, and I was thinking, like, wasn't that a year ago? Like, how does that qualify?
Because I remember you and we went shopping, and I remember listening to Cruel Summer in the car, and we played it for Mom and Theban.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't really know how, like, the dates work. Anyway. I trust them. Whatever works. This brings us to another big award of the night, which was the VMA's first Tricon Award, which recognizes artists who have been leaders or pioneers in other fields as well as in the music industry. And this year it went to none other than Lady Gaga, who took home 5 awards, including the Tricon Award, Best Cinematography for Rain on Me. Also, Rain on Me won Song of the Year, Best Collaboration, and also she got Artist of the Year. Absolutely incredible. The show was completely taken over by Chromatica, and I'm not mad about it at all.
I'm not mad about it. I honestly think if the VMAs was Chromatica themed all the time, I'd be here. But you know what? Doja Cat's performance, I thought was very Chromatica-esque, like on another like planet environment. I thought it was interesting. I'm not mad about it. I just was like, no, this is
it was giving
similar.
Me Chromatica vibes. Yeah.
So Bella Hadid presented the Tricon Award and called Gaga a triple threat because, of course, singing, acting, and philanthropy. But in my head, I was thinking hair, body, face, triple threat, do it, boy. But then, of course, the speech, all of Gaga's speeches were just, I thought, perfect, succinct. But at the end of her Tricon Award, she said, be kind, mask up, be brave, and
her masks just stole the show as well.
Are we going to talk about her masks now?
Yeah, we can talk about her mask now.
Gianna, which mask was your favorite?
I like the one with the horns on it. Or the tusks. Yeah, the tusks.
Me too. But I think my favorite look overall was when the first one, so it was like the pink mask. And it like went around her eyes, and that like rainbow kind of feathery outfit. Yes.
That was the look of the night.
I'm physically unwell thinking about and can we talk about how she was the only person on stage who continued to wear a mask?
So other than the performances that took place at the drive-in, it's my understanding that the rest of the performances were pre-recorded.
Well,
maybe not Miley's. It was kind of hard to tell. BTS's was obviously pre-recorded. Yeah. But so I was on TikTok this morning, my usual routine, and this woman was like, wait for it. And they showed Ari with her mask, and she had her strings tied. And then when they flashed to her face, like, 5 seconds later or something, the strings like weren't tied anymore around her ear. So I figured that this was pre-recorded anyways because that outfit change that Gaga did when she...
And then she says, let me change my outfit real quick.
But also, we've seen Gaga multiple times in concert. She changes outfits very, very fast. And so I'm...
Yeah.
At the same time, it wouldn't be crazy if she did a fast outfit change. But those were two crazy outfits to change into with that time frame. And then also at the end of Rain on Me, when her and Ari go into that little like spinning tunnel, and then she just magically turns around
in a jumpsuit,
is wearing an entirely different outfit. So that whole performance was pre-recorded, but I'm still not mad about it at all because it was fantastic.
It was so good. Okay, so let's start basically from the beginning. Keke Palmer was the host of the night. I thought she was great. I mean, I love Keke Palmer. It was kind of cheeky. I will say with Keke Palmer, I was incredibly impressed with her ability to feed off of the kind of like implanted audience noises, because obviously there's no audience, but they were adding those sounds like there was an audience, and I thought she was feeding off of that really well.
She did a really good job under the circumstances. In the beginning, she started off with dedicating tonight's VMAs to Chadwick Boseman. And playing off of the very cringy fake people, which I knew were going to be there. I know it's kind of part of it. I've gotten a little used to it. Not that I watch a lot of sports, but crowd of baseball stadiums, they have little electronic like people. They put them in. So I knew it would be there, but all in all, we know that it's a really hard time to celebrate these kind of things. But at the end of the day, it is her job to keep things light and keep things moving. And I think she did a good job trying to strike a balance between the two.
No, I did too. And for some reason, for me, I kind of liked the graphics and the like little shadow audience people dancing. I thought the visuals of it harkened back to that kind of like classic MTV 80s motif. I could tell that they were going for a very
nostalgic vibe.
Yeah, nostalgic vibe and invigorating the VMAs in a way. And I also thought for me, it kind of also matched the chromatica of it all, which is all I cared about.
Oh, no, for sure. And I mean, I did think it was really cool if they, we couldn't have a traditional award show. So why not mix up the performances? The first performance of the night, the show opened up with The Weeknd's Blinding Lights, and he was singing on this crazy rooftop. With like a helicopter flying around.
Yeah, it was like Edge at the Hudson.
And then there was like fireworks and stuff. And really, I mean, he's a great performer, but I thought that was a really cool performance. And then when they were able to go to the drive-in, and then they had actual real people sitting on their cars. So after a while, the, little kind of fake green screen people didn't really bother me anymore. It was just the first thing I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a really good job being able to bring a lot of different, ways to film these performances. Since this award show is celebrating visual performances and displays, I think they did a good job trying to mix it up if they could.
Right. And Drew Barrymore came out at one point. She was presenting an award, and she said something that I just thought really struck me. She just said that music videos define a picture of the moment. And I thought that was so fascinating, just in terms of what we study and what you and I were kind of looking for in particular at this award show, and being kind of immersed in that visual culture. Like, what does it mean for a music video to define our visual culture and what we're seeing in this moment? And what a strange moment it is, right? I mean, I'm thinking about quarantine and quarantine production and social justice movements and how that's all being captured into one kind of award show. I mean, how we're watching all of this unfold in front of us, right?
Yeah.
So we also had Miley perform early on in the award show, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So Miley's on this kind of, it's like a strange plane almost, and you can't really figure out like the space that she's in, but she's on like basically a red ball of light kind of.
Yeah.
And then that light changed and it grew, and it was red all around her, and then it was just a blue space all around her. And I thought it was fascinating what she was doing just with light.
I I freaking loved it. I just love the simplicity of it. I love the vibe, you know, and I also love the artistic direction in Midnight Sky as well. I mean, talk about nostalgia, though. Like, that song is, you know, bringing all of that out. So I just loved it. And it also in itself, with that kind of flat color plane, almost felt like what you were saying before. Like, it really fit the vibe, like a classic kind of early on 90s or 80s music video.
Well, and you didn't have to do too much. Like, she didn't have any like pyrotechnics and no dancers, and it was just her singing a song. Yeah. Oh my God, she was great, and I enjoyed watching her, and I enjoyed what she was doing with. I don't know. I'm thinking about like the two different colors we see, and how she has kind of two different sides to her in the song Midnight Sky, and
Yeah, because, well, she talked about that in an interview I listened to, you know, we're used to hearing this kind of traditional form of how a pop song is made, and at Midnight Sky, like, she breaks that by talking about having relationships with people of different genders.
Yeah, multiple people.
So the more I listened to the song, like, just the more that I love it. It meant a lot to have the Wrecking Ball be a part of the first time she performed this song. That is a marker of this new age of Miley and Miley music, because she has spoken so much about the Wrecking Ball, but in also very conflicting tones.
So basically, to explain where the ball came from, it's like the red set, then it fades to blue, then she walks up a set of stairs and gets on, it's a disco ball, but it's the exact same as the Wrecking Ball once was. It's just a disco ball.
But it's also like she is presented with this like grand staircase, and then it's unveiled that it, you know, is this disco ball, Wrecking Ball. But it's like the process of her walking up these stairs, you
and
know,
embracing it and
confronting her past. Like, it's so, the
it's
performance
so Miley.
was
I think that's what's
simple, but it was just incredible.
Powerful.
So going like off of that, you know, we know that Bangers wasn't for everybody, which was where, you know, Wrecking Ball came from. More importantly, Miley has evolved as a person and an artist, and in listening to a recent interview with her, it's not about other people embracing past Miley, but it's about Miley embracing Miley, and I just absolutely love to see it. You know, like I said, she said conflicting things about the Wrecking Ball, like, oh, like, had I known if it would follow me around the way that it has, maybe I wouldn't have done it. But, you know, it happened, and she doesn't need to be. I've said it before, but like, I liked Bangers. Like, there's nothing that she needs to be embarrassed or ashamed about. But anytime, you know, you have a person being able to like embrace themselves in a very loving and appropriate way, it's just always great to see. So I'm just really excited for what's to come.
Yeah.
Because I also know that people have said things about, you know, Miley. She's not the most consistent artist, but she also doesn't put herself in a box as to what kind of music she wants to make, whether it was She Is Coming or like Dead Pets. You know, a lot of people had a lot of feelings about Dead Pets. Younger Now was embracing more of her country roots.
Well, and so, I mean, just a separation of her past.
Right.
I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's never bothered me that she's, quote, like, she doesn't bring us consistent music. I'm like, your life is changing and evolving. We're not consistent people. That's not,
Gianna,
that's not really a natural way of thinking, in my opinion.
Oh, that's so brilliant.
Because do we want, like, we grew up with Miley, so we are also adults now. Like, we love it when she comes out and she's able to sing Here's the Climb or whatever, because that's great and nostalgic, but also we want to evolve and change with her because that's the era that we grew up in. So I guess I'm just kind
also
of like,
don't we expect change from everyone else? Like, we are constantly, or I mean, maybe not, that's like very general, but
we're asking people to grow and change. And evolve.
And why can't we ask, or why can't Miley do that for herself?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. So, mega celebrity crush alert, Anthony Ramos was a presenter, and I was unwell.
Okay, I love you, but like, if anyone is in love with him, the crush is on like him and Jasmine from Hamilton. Like, I just can't with their relationship. And he was looking so fine, and his red suit, his hair, and his boat mask. This man, oh my God, his album is so good. If you guys are sleeping on him, like, please do yourself a favor and go listen to his music. It's incredible.
So let's get into the Chromatica performance, shall we?
We shall.
Okay. So first of all, I just need to say, Gianna, if this was the VMA performance, can you imagine what the actual concert is going to be like?
Oh my God, I know. I was texting Jewel, or we were texting Jewel, and I said, this is just a little taste of what is to come.
Truly. And I love that she opened with the 911 transition, like Chromatica 2 extended into 911, because I also think that's such a symbol of quarantine and visuals because of TikTok. The 911 transition on TikTok is also such a visual trend, and to play off of that and like begin her performance with that.
So good.
Just so
and
good.
So we
so
have
good.
the musical transition, but then we also had the physical transition. So the video started out with her in a room like space, like a home space, and kind of watching TV, and she was like cuddled up with a blanket, and then she kind of goes through these different floors, and then it opens up like into the world of Chromatica, because as we talked about before, where does Chromatica exist? Like, it exists in your mind, in your own space.
Right. Oh, so good. And then, so she did 911, and then she has a clothing transitions into a purple, like, bikini type outfit, and then sings Rain on Me. Ariana Grande comes out, and I need to talk about Ariana hitting that note.
Oh, I know. She is on another level. Whether you like her or not, that's totally fine. But that girl is incredible. Insane.
Oh my God. And all the time, Gaga and Ariana and all of the dancers are all wearing masks. So
yeah.
I saw a TikTok that was like, don't tell me you can't breathe under that mask.
Yes.
Because Ari and Gaga are out here doing the most wearing, and Gaga's mask was so cool.
It was so cool.
I read this New York Times article that talked about Gaga's masks, and then this writer talked about the idea of masktivism. And advocating for masks and normalizing wearing a mask and making like a fashion statement as well. I just, it was so good.
I would expect nothing less. Like, I just would expect absolutely nothing less from her.
Truly.
Freaking incredible.
Truly. And so then Rain on Me, so good. Ari ending on that note. And then Lady Gaga transitions into this glorious jumpsuit that's like pink and sparkly, and not to objectify, because I would never do that, but
I objectify Lady Gaga all the time because she's hot as shit. She is so hot. I love her.
Like, her ass though, like
her ass.
But then like she gets in the jumpsuit, and I was just like, oh my God.
No, she has got a rockin' bod. Like, she is the most beautiful woman in the world. I
know. Then the piano and the slowed down, like, melodic version of Stupid Love.
I know.
Was, oh God, it just...
Really quick to go back to the pianos, if you all haven't been to a Lady Gaga performance, or mostly, like, on any award show, she'll have some kind of piano segment, but she always has a custom-made piano that represents, is very visually representative of what kind of concert or what album she's doing. So when she did Joanne, it was just kind of a classic-looking one. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, wait,
it was like
do you remember
glass.
what it was like?
I remember
it
on
was
stage,
glass.
it was like glass.
It was
and
glass.
she ended with A Million Reasons and went underneath
and then went
the
under
piano and left her hat on the
piano. And so yeah, this one was like taken over by Chromatica, almost looked like some kind of like brain or something.
Yeah.
It was crazy, like creepy, beautiful, amazing.
So good. And then she ends the performance, so she performs Stupid Love on the piano and then does a dance with it, and she climbs back up to that kind of room space and leaves Chromatica in a way and returns to this kind of earthly realm, as if she's one of us watching the MTV performance, right? Because we have like Chromatica TV. I also wanted to talk about what she said when she accepted one of the awards, and she said it was when she was in that big silver gown, and it was very like luminescent, and she had like the antlers almost.
Yeah, I think that might have been for Artist of the Year.
Okay, so she said something that she said a renaissance is coming. The wrath of pop culture will inspire you. The rage of art will empower you. Mask up, it's a sign of respect.
Oh, yes, that was for her. That was for the Tricon Award. Yeah.
So I loved, first of all, that she was in that outfit with like these kind of majestic looking antlers, and then she says a renaissance is coming.
Yeah.
And after thinking about it in conjunction with her performance of the night and everything she's doing, like all the masks and the glamour, and she's still staying true to Gaga and giving us all this kind of like visual references, you know, the wrath of pop culture, like
just incredible. Not as like meaningful or perhaps inspirational as that, but then when she accepted her Artist of the Year award, she said something that was just so like her and just so cute. She said, "Don't eat the California roll so they know you mean business."
Yeah.
And I just, you know, for us, when we have our future businesswoman meetings, we just need to keep that locked away.
We need a sign in the office
that says, "Don't eat the California roll."
Yes. I want to get a sign made.
I love it.
And we can hang it in APTHQ.
Yeah. Just don't eat it then and then come back later and eat it.
We should, okay, whenever we like get like a big sponsorship, can we eat a California roll?
Oh, of course. Yeah. But we can't do it like in front of them so they know that we mean business. So we got to just like, you know, get a DoorDash and do it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's how a real professional does it.
So, Best New Artist went to Doja Cat. Again, Mother's Daughter. Miley won an award for Best Art Direction.
That made me happy.
Yeah, I was really glad to see that. Video of the Year went to The Weeknd for Blinding Lights. They also ended the show with a performance from the Black Eyed Peas, which I was not expecting. But
how do
alas,
we feel about the Black Eyed Peas?
I'm here for it. I don't know. I didn't love the performance, and like the glowing pants.
Oh my God, what was that?
I just was like, what are you guys doing?
It was the pants and like the gyrating movement where I was like, are they just glowing because they're white? Was it not meant to happen, or was that on purpose?
It was. I didn't love that artistic choice.
Yeah.
Also, where was Fergie? I mean,
well, Fergie didn't join this
album.
You know, the Black Eyed Peas kind of like they do a tour and then they take a break.
Yeah.
She, for one reason or another, didn't want to do it.
So, do you have any other thoughts about the VMAs? Overall, I thought it was fantastic. I liked watching it. I mean, of course, I thought like the performances were really good. And it was basically a big Lady Gaga show, which I'm never going to complain about. And I think I really needed it, honestly.
I think I did too. I just needed to like see her in her prime, in amazing outfits again, you know, stealing the show. I'm never going to be mad about that. You know, I think all in all, I'm impressed with what they were able to do. Hoping that they did it, you know, to the best of their ability in a very like safe way, which it seemed like all the artists felt very you know, fortunate for the way that it was handled. So that made me happy. Just on social media, it seemed like it went pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah.
Again, I know that it's a really hard time for, you know, several different reasons to kind of be in a very celebratory mood. And we really saw how
like, I don't know. I feel weird how much I just enjoyed watching like pretty people be pretty, you know, like, and Lady Gaga's fashion and thinking about masks as being a fashion statement. I mean, I know she said it's a sign of respect, but also making it a fashion statement at the same time. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, I don't know. It felt nice. And it
felt like a little bit of normalcy again, which I think was needed. So, you know, all in all, is the VMAs my absolutely like favorite award show ever? No, but we cannot ignore it in these pop culture times because really a lot of stuff has happened there, and
Yeah.
And it really provided us with something, during this pandemic, which is very much appreciated.
Yeah, and I mean, I think just thinking about, well, first of all, now I'm getting super excited. Now I just have more inspo for the concert. I mean, next year.
Oh, yeah, so we know more of what the vibe's going to be.
Totally. I'm freaking out. But yeah, I think the visuals of it and thinking about, I mean, again, this is a future conversation for us to have, but that's just another one of the visuals for thinking about post-humanism that I know you and I want to talk about with Gaga too. And we haven't really been able to do that yet because we're waiting on more music videos from Chromatica, but getting that glimpse of that connection to our world and the visuals and how that influences pop culture. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
So this was fun. I just kind of liked talking to you because normally Gianna and I mean, we're sitting together watching these type of shows, and normally I would have some baked goods and, a cheese board ready for everybody. So I'm glad that I got to talk to you about it. It was nice.
Yeah, me too.
So next Tuesday, you all should know, is the day after Labor Day. So Gianna and I are not going to have a new episode out next Tuesday, but this is going to be a great time for you to get caught up on all your APT episodes. So just a heads up.
But rest assured, in a couple weeks, we'll be back with that premium content.
Well, don't forget, you can always follow us at Art Pop Talk. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. You can also listen to all of our episodes on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and lots of other places that you might listen to your podcast. So definitely use this long weekend to get caught up. I hope everyone has a safe and enjoyable, maybe it's an extra day at home, but maybe it's an extra day you can use to get some stuff done. Listen to APT, watch Lady Gaga's performance at the VMAs.
Definitely catch up on your APT if you need to.
Totally. Well, thanks everyone, and we will talk to you in 2 Tuesdays.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.